He's the fucking guy. Dude, how did we not become that kind of white? Someone actually said, yeah. I'm too dark.
Bert Kreischer's back and he's bigger and redder than ever. Fresh off the Two Bears 5K event where Bert embarrassed himself in front of a live crowd, Tom and Bert are picking up where they left off, offering fresh insights into what it's like to be an out-of-shape middle-aged comedy millionaire with too much money on their hands and absolutely no sense of reality.
Yo, big up 10 on 10 toes. 80 Taz Butler's chaps. No, to be fair, that type of merch will interest me. Like, I don't know. For Taz, maybe USB sticks for the fucking DJs out there or whatever. Or like headphone pads, or like a notebook, or like a fucking page holder or something, because I read books and shit. For this show, I don't know, maybe some sort of fucking flask, or like a now gen or something. Or maybe a hat if I wore hats or something. You know what I mean? Like little things like that. But again, it'll just be cost up, just like fun little things, one off. But, you know, I don't know. The whole grift, and as well, the grifting thing is an overused term. You know, overused term. Grifter things over. We know what grifters are. I don't think podcast creators making a bit of merch is grifting, to be completely honest.
I've been saying this for a while now, but it's more obvious than ever that Tom Segura has had enough of Bert's bullshit and checked out of the whole comedy podcasting grift completely. He recently revealed on JRE that he never intended to pursue a career in stand-up comedy and moved to LA to pursue his dream of being an actor. So now that his Netflix series Bad Thoughts has hit the top 10 on trending and seems to be gathering some steam, I don't think it's going to be long until he throws in the towel and severs ties with Bert professionally. This is
That's a hell of a reach, isn't it? That's a hell of a reach. What? You think so? But that being said, think about it the other way. Think about it if Bert Kreischer's movie was a success and wasn't panned and wasn't a flop at the box office. Imagine if The Machine movie actually was good and well liked and well reviewed. He'd like to do the same thing. Bert will probably be like, see ya to Tom and quit everything and disassociate himself with Tom Segura and go fully into the whole I want to be an actor thing, innit? You know he would. So maybe there's something in there, but it feels like a bit of a reach.
has got Brendan Schaub, Theo Von, The King and the Sting written all over it, where Tom moves on to an illustrious Hollywood career. And
to be fair, looking back now, I know the picture is obviously, we got the context and it's like, you know, hindsight is 2020. But looking back, doesn't the dynamic and the energy of that picture tell you everything? Brendan looks like he's so happy to be hanging out with Theo. Brendan looks like he's so happy, so chuffed that Theo's his friend and they've got a show together. Like I think we didn't know at the time, but I think Brendan knew at the time because he was working with the guy, how much of a blessing it was, how lucky he was that Theo was working with him. Like he noticed, okay, cool, this guy shouldn't be with me. This guy is way too good to be around me. But he did milk it. He did milk the most. He got the most out of it, you know? He milked it for a very, 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 very long time. But he looks really happy there that Theo's his friend. Which is a shame because since the last time Theo was on camera with Brendan has been the last time he's been on camera with Brendan.
Bert runs his podcast, Bertcast, into the ground, getting more and more desperate for attention and eventually exploding like the waitress's head from the Assassin story in Bad Thoughts. And Bert, if you're listening, we're going to be here with you every step of the way. But speaking of Bad Thoughts, Tom and Bert spent the first half of the show discussing the intricacies of producing a show for Netflix and all the details that nobody gives a fuck about. So if you want to see my detailed review of Tom's new show, head over to my Patreon via the link in the description and sign up so you don't miss out on that one. Those of you who have been watching all my comedy special reviews and Kill Tony live show breakdowns will know that covering Brendan Schaub's embarrassing ejection.
I've been smoking weed every night. I'm not sober. Like I don't think I ever have an attraction to being sober, but like not
an attraction, you know. I don't know. Maybe it's just different because I like party, right? I go out and rave and shit. So I'm out here with fucking, you know, people taking multivitamins and getting really fucking on it. But even in my world, even in that kind of world, that subculture, that scene, right, and going to raves and being a DJ and shit, you think to yourself like, is this gonna be me forever? Like, is this how my weekends are always gonna be? And you think to yourself, over time, you're gonna wean off of it, and you do. People wean off of it. They move on to other things. They go behind the scenes, or they just develop a much healthier relationship with that sort of stuff. But everyone gets to a point where the way they were when they got into the scene at like 19, 21, 32 is not the same way they get. It's not the same way they are if they're still in the scene or in the industry when they're 45, 50. They're like, but Bert doesn't, it never enters his mind that there could be like a moment where like, hey, maybe it's not 16 beers a night. Maybe it's 10. Maybe it's 5. It never crosses his mind. But that all comes from being like growing up the way he has, basically. Being privileged in a way. Having no real life consequences to his actions. Never having to hold down a job. I think that's what makes this easier to kind of comprehend and to be okay with. Because I think a regular person, you're kind of forced to do that and to grow up or to evolve or whatever, or give up. Because you have a job, because you have to look after a family, because you have to hold down a job, whatever it may be, keep a roof over your head. But that's the like. I don't even think he should. Like, I'm not even in the camp of he should quit everything, because I'll be a hypocrite because I don't quit everything. But there should be a time where you kind of just scale it back a little bit. You know, pull it back, just chill. And I always find it fascinating because it's like you work in a job where you get to drink anyway. Like, how can you work in a job where it doesn't matter if you drink or do drugs, but then you're doing too much of it anyway? Like, that is a real lack of like care and whatever else it may be. It's like, just relax, bro. It's not that you don't have to go this hard with the boozing. Like, and it's booze too. Booze isn't that, like, I'm sorry, but booze isn't that good that you should be going that hard as Bert is. From the day he was in high school to now, booze isn't that good. It really isn't. Drugs aren't that good even. It gets boring after a while. No matter how much fun you have, it gets boring. It gets samey. You get tired of it. But he never seems to get tired of it. Maybe that's why he's a machine.
Drinking has felt fucking really good these last 8 days.
8 days.
When have you heard somebody say after a bender that it's been a great few days? Even in my heyday, right? Even in my heyday, where I'll be putting on raves, where I'll be DJing all over the place, where like, you know, I remember this one particular time where I'll be staying out from like Thursday to Monday, essentially. You would never look back on it on a Tuesday morning and be like, oh, that was fucking great. You're hating yourself. You're hating it. You're saying you're never going to do it again. Then obviously next week you do it again. But you're not saying out of your breath, oh, that was a great few days. Like, maybe in the moment it was, but not on the day after, you know? Like, what?
You're almost time to get a coin.
It ends in about 4 hours.
Oh, it's over in 4 hours.
I'm having a glass of our vodka. I'm getting on a plane. Tom, it's just flying, man. It's flying.
Yeah. I know, we fly differently. We talked about that.
I feel so good right now that I go, don't drink. Let's see how long I can not drink on the flight. And that way I'll minimize my drinking.
Yo, big up Toby Moss. I was the first to go out of my mates. I was the first out of my mates to go out with no disco biscuits and just enjoy the tunes. And please tell the fellow stream chatters how hard that is. But also tell the stream chatters, Toby Moss, how easy it is after you've done it a few times. It's not that difficult. And also, it makes it more fun when you end up doing it again the next time. With this guy, like, I don't. Maybe forgive me for being dumb, but I don't think he actually enjoys beer. For me, you enjoy a good pint when you've worked hard that day. At the end of the day, you've had a hard working day. Your boss has been on your back. You've been covering for your fellow colleagues. You've been busting your ass, whatever you're doing in work. And then that pint at the end of the day, oh, that tastes fucking sweet. That pint at the end of the fucking week, oh, that tastes fucking sweet. That multivitamin that you do once every whenever, that is going to be a good experience. That is going to be a good high. Not every fucking day. Plus you have your own vodka company. Plus you probably get sent loads of booze to you anyway. Plus you get people buying you shots. Like, you're always around beer, always around alcohol. He probably has a massive bar. No, actually they have a bar there, don't they? They have a bar in the studio. But I'd imagine in his actual house, he probably has a massive fucking bar. Surely you're not enjoying it. I'm sorry, you're not enjoying it. You're not enjoying the way I'm enjoying it anyway, at least. When I get a fucking cold pint, when I get a fucking nice fucking pint of Guinness that I don't usually drink, or I don't have any beer at home anyway, that hits way better for me than it does to him. I'm sure of it. There's no way he's enjoying drinking as much as he's saying he is, or the taste of it, or the experience of it. Maybe he enjoys the high of it, or whatever, but he's definitely not enjoying the drinking. There's no way. Doing it that much? Come on.
But then we're going to Chicago for a bottle takeover, right? Or for a bar takeover. I'm going to drink in Chicago. I want. By the way, I'm also eating clean. I'm eating good.
The amount of shit these guys take to get through their daily lives is seriously out of control. We all know people like this. I remember I had a friend who had a pill for everything, to relax, to party, to sleep, to exercise, to wake up, to work. But I've never heard someone openly admitting that their drinking problem is due to self-medicating their fear of flying, and then in the next...
Yeah, but I told you most, I just really like the music going to remember everything. Yeah. I was the same. I think I had my turning point came because I went to, like, I think there was a year. I was checking my fucking emails randomly actually about it the other day. I think there was a year where I went to, like, Berlin like 6 times. And I think I wasn't working a good job to enough to pay for it and all that, so I don't even know where I got the fucking money from. But I think I went to fucking Berlin like 6 times in a year, and I think all 6 times I went to Bergheim, but I couldn't remember one. Like, I couldn't remember one set. I think that's why I was like, okay, cool, I need to, you know. And then the few times again when I went, I think that the year after I went was the year I went during dry January. I went for work to Berlin, so I got flown out there for work, got put up in a nice hotel, had breakfast, everything, right? So bang. So that should be a time where you go fucking crazy. I had a best time, completely stone cold sober, and that was a wild time as well. Because I remember we went to some boiler room. Yeah, I went to like a boiler room rave. I think Kano was performing it. It's like an AS original. I don't know if Kano's still sponsored by AS Originals, but Kano, the Grime MC, you know, original member of, well, not original, but old member of Nasty Crew and shit. He was doing a performance out there, and they rented out some space, AS Originals, and they had like a Heineken bar. And they're also serving spirits, all for free. It was like their influencer thing. It was like crazy. And I remember in the club or whatever space they had a wall of a fridge, like Heineken branded fridges, where you could just open and get beer for free if you wanted. Or if you went to the bar, they could make you a mixer with some sort of Heineken inspired drink or something, right? That's the whole thing. And everyone was getting smashed, obviously, and obviously high as well. And I just abstained from the whole thing, and I had a great time. Don't get me wrong, like, would I advise you to go to a fucking rave or to a pub or to any kind of sporting event sober all the time, surrounded by those people? No, obviously don't. You could do better things to do with your time, but it is entirely possible to do, and it's kind of enjoyable as well. And I also wouldn't want to go to these type of things knowing that I couldn't go unless I was on something, you know, because I kind of like the music, I kind of like the scene. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's same with comedy. Like, wouldn't you want to? I don't know, maybe it's different, these guys. Maybe they actually use comedy as an excuse to get fucked up. Maybe that's the whole point. But if you actually love stand-up, you like being, like, wouldn't you want to just go and enjoy stand-up for just stand-up's sake? And for meeting people, hanging out, telling jokes, Should it always be an excuse to get fucked up?
breath, claim that they just like to party, and then say how good they feel when they don't drink and when they're eating well, while at the same time counting down the hours until their next drink. And Tom's just sitting across from him nodding in agreement, waiting for the podcast to end so he can get back in his
That's a perfect screenshot, by the way. That's a perfect fucking face. That look of contempt.
new Ferrari and get the fuck out of there. However, there's a fierce battle going on between Bert Kreischer and Brendan Schaub over who can have the most delusional flex. I talked about this on my Bites channel, how Bert will do some classic celebrity douchebag move and then brag about it on his podcast. Your boy Bupper does the same. Just this morning, he was complaining about the baseball dad who leaked the footage of him getting ejected, but then had his producers pull a still frame from the video showing him towering over the umpire so he could flex about how jacked he is. These guys have absolutely no moral compass when it comes to reading the room and knowing when to hide something or when to brag about it.
Wait, do you pay your own bills?
There's a portal that I sign into and approve of certain bills that go out.
Leanne does that for us.
Yeah, I figured.
Yeah, I've never paid a bill in my life.
I also figured that.
The last time I paid a bill, you could write checks.
Seriously?
Yeah.
So you have no idea like how any of it works for you?
None. I actually said.
So do you think this is like a humble brag to show off like how rich he is? Or do you think this is a weird way for him to kind of like dunk on people that criticize him? Like, you guys think I'm an idiot. You guys think I'm this, I'm that. But I don't even remember when I paid the bill. It's like, I don't know. It doesn't hit the way you think it does. You're just not a responsible adult, innit? Like, why? You're not fucking Brad Pitt. You're not George Clooney. You know what I mean? You're not fucking why aren't you paying? Why aren't you on top of the things that are going in and out of your, like, why don't you know these things? Why don't you take an interest in this sort of thing? Why is that a brag that you're not financially literate or have any kind of insight into it? Why is that something that you're proud about? You know, it's a strange thing to fucking brag about. But hey, I guess in these guys' world, like, you know, it's almost like the person that brags about never driving. You know, you want to act like, oh yeah, I don't even drive my own cars. It's like, why don't you drive your own cars? What? Why is that a brag?
I said to someone recently, I was like, and they were like, don't you and Tom like have same amount of money? And I was like, not really. He has more money than I do. But like, I mean, I guess in apples and oranges, it's not apples and oranges. It's apples and like pears. And they go, and like, well, it's not like I have no money.
No.
But I go, they go, but how can I go, well, Tom knows how much money. I go, Tom's aware of how much money he has coming in. So what I do is I just don't spend because I'm terrified all the time. So I live in a place of fear.
So you know what money you have. Again, just chatting shit. You can't flex and say you don't have no money, but then you want to like what, be relatable and say you live in a place of fear. I go on tour because I'm scared. I drink because I'm scared. Huh?
Fear, because I don't want to deal with it. So like,
Right.
That's where I am. So I don't spend because I'm terrified that I don't have any money coming in that month. And they're like, you do. And I was like, I know, but I think if I was more aware of.
Oh, big up Koila. I love this. Tom was a rich kid with expectations. Bert is a rich kid that never wiped his own ass. Bappa's a rich kid bully. Delia's a rich kid diddler. Callan's a rich kid turned old grapist loser. Notice a trend? Exactly. Yeah. That's the annoying thing, innit, about these guys. Like, they're all the same type of person, really. Maybe that's also why Rogan rags on, because I say it before, like sometimes the person that you rag on the most are usually the people that you kind of oddly see a lot of yourself in. So sometimes when I'm like overly critical or overly harsh on someone like an Eric Griffin, I can notice in myself that the reason why I say that is because I notice in myself that I may have the tendencies or the proclivity to be a bit of a sloth, to be dour, to be negative, to be a hater, and to just be like just how he is, right? Just a miserable fucking, you know, bag of potatoes. So maybe Rogan is so harsh on Bert because he knows if he really was to let go and to not be as disciplined as he is in his life, he would be Bert too. The only thing separating him between him and Bert is that he has some level of vanity, but he can't even say that because I think Bert also is vain in his own way. I think Bert also kind of feels like Bert probably has that African dad thing, or that, you know, whatever immigrant dad thing, where like if you've got a big belly, it's a sign of like prosperity because it means you're eating well, you've been fed, like, you know what I mean? So maybe Bert in his own twisted way feels like being able to perform on stage with no t-shirt, looking the way that he does, walking around embracing it, it's kind of a flex because it means if he does that, it probably means he has money because, hey, I don't have to conform, I don't have to live up to these expectations, I don't have to meet these beauty standards, I do things on my own, I move to beat my own drum because I've got my own drums, that type of thing. Maybe, but big up Quayla.
What was coming in, I might spend more.
I got you. Yeah, I understand.
So in a weird way to protect myself, I just keep myself unaware.
Why are two comedians sitting in a studio across from each other, one of them sitting on a couch with his legs crossed discussing their spending habits? And why is Bert's face so fucking red? Can everyone not see that he's slowly dying? It looked like he just received an email about a bill on his phone, so he thought he'd start bragging about how he's never paid a bill in his life. This is what two of the top-selling comedians in the world think passes as content these days. As usual, though, it got worse.
I have a joke. I don't know what the joke is really per se, but in it, it's that Leanne has always bought our cars. So when we look at cars, like I run them by Leanne and then she's like no or yes. Leanne's always been the final decision on every car.
Now we know why Leanne never leaves, right? Now we know why Leanne never is ever gonna leave. Yo, big up Joff MIA, big up Joff MIA, appreciate it, brother. But now we know why Leanne's never gonna leave. She has the cards. She has the say-so, the final say-so on the finances and the spend. So she gets to spend whatever she wants. Now we know why she's never gonna. Now we know why she enables. Because if she enables, guess what? More money.
And there was a guy in the audience that couldn't believe it. He was like, bullshit.
Yeah.
And he was like, what kind of car do you have now? I know that it's like I can tell you how much it costs, and I know it's the nice one, it's the big one.
Yeah.
But S or C, it's an S or a C, it's not E, but it's the big one, but I don't know the number.
Yeah, it's an
like
S-Class.
I really don't know the number.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen it. It's nice. It's really nice.
Yeah. I love that car. Sedan. It's comfortable.
Yeah.
It's not like too ostentatious. It's like, but it's a beautiful car.
It's great.
Looks like I sell real estate in Beverly Hills, but whatever.
You look like a Persian guy, but
yeah, because it's white. I shouldn't have got white. Like I care more about the color of my car.
But you like white. You had a white.
I've always had white cars. I've always had white cars.
Yeah, it's like
I love white cars.
Extension of your like racial beliefs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I wasn't listening. Goddamn it! What did you say?
Nothing. Yeah. No, I'm saying it just fits you perfectly.
Can someone take Bert's phone off him? Like, fuck, what are we doing here, B? Talking about an S-Class Mercedes as if it's a reliable runaround car is crazy. At least Tom keeps his mouth shut these days about his growing supercar collection, unless he's in the comfort of Joe Rogan's studio being guarded by SEAL Team 6. The paws can't get to him there. But this next bit started out as a moment of self-reflection and realization and quickly turned into a Bert Kreischer classic moment. Oh, and I got a question for all you Americans watching this right after the clip.
You know, I might be in a parallel universe. If I had never met Leanne, I might be a shrewd businessman.
Yeah?
I think Leanne just took over everything.
Again, like, I don't understand. Like, I don't know about you, man, but I would never mistake my expertise in one field as a representation of my expertise across other fields. Because what would give this guy any indication that he's could be a successful or a whatever entrepreneur? Maybe in terms of him coming from a rich family, maybe that's what he means, because he'll get infinite chances than you and I to kind of, you know, launch stuff if it fails or relaunch things, whatever. But it's always interesting to me how these podcasters, these stand-up comedians feel as if, like, because they're successful in one area, it somehow is transferable to other areas, or is indicative of them being able to do other things. Like just the other day, Bert, you know, talking about Bert maybe being an athlete. Now he's suddenly saying, "Oh yeah, if I wasn't a stand-up comedian, I probably would be a shoot." Like, what gives that impression? Because you sell merch, because you sell tickets for your shows. That is largely built off the back of what? Your stand-up, which has got what? From your association with Rogan. And it's like, what? There's all these things that played a role in terms of you becoming successful as you are and selling those tickets. It's not really to do with the business, isn't it? Growing a business from the ground up, even just opening a fucking bakery, a laundromat, whatever, some sort of financial services, something else, software, whatever. It's very, very difficult. Most people fail at it, even the ones that commit entirely to it, study for it. But here's Bert. Yeah, I could do that because I've got a podcast. I could do that
so easily that I was like, great,
Yeah.
cool. I'd rather never open an envelope. I haven't opened mail. I'm gonna bring Leanne in here. I'm gonna just have Leanne yell it. I'm gonna call her right now.
I think you would be probably the same as Bobby Lee. You both, I think, have the same financial planning. He's like, I don't know what it is. I don't know how much the amount. I've never seen a bill. I don't open a thing. I haven't done it in 25 years. Like zero awareness.
Hang on 1 second. Don't listen, okay?
Okay.
I haven't opened a piece of mail. I'm gonna guess. You ready?
Yeah.
In 22 years.
Okay. Let's see what she says.
Leanne,
Yes.
when was the last time you think I opened a piece of mail?
1993.
So what is it? Because you're not around, so you don't open mail? Like you're not curious to open mail? Whenever you're around, the mail's already been opened because you're drunk and hungover for 20. Like, I don't know why this is a brag. Like, this is a strange thing to brag about. I don't open mail. Okay. Some people that brag about, I don't visit this. Why do you have a house you don't visit or you don't own or you don't lease or rent out or something? It's just they're empty. It's like, what kind of brag is that? Like, it's a strange brag. It really is a strange brag. By the way, relatable, right? Relatable. Hashtag comedy. This is funny, right? This is funny. Let me call my wife and and demonstrate to you how wealthy I am. Like, okay.
I was gonna say 22 years. I don't think I've ever opened a piece of mail since I married you.
Oh, I don't think you opened mail before me.
I didn't.
No.
Rich guy shit.
I don't think you've opened mail since 1993. Maybe even before that. Maybe even ever. Yeah.
I've never opened mail.
That's
So
not
it
your
just
bag, baby.
it just sits
You
there.
have lots of gifts and talents. That's not in your wheelhouse.
All right, I love you. I'll talk to you later. It gives me anxiety.
Okay, first thing, why is it that Americans never say bye before they end a call? I've wondered this my whole life, but I've never actually asked an American before. If someone did that to me, I'd be like, oh, okay, see ya. Like, fuck. Is that rude or is it just me? I don't know. Just seems like you could have waited for her to say bye before ending the call, but something tells me she's probably used to it. And here's the other thing. We all know Bert's fear of clowns and balloons, and obviously, social anxiety is a thing. I know heaps of people who hate making phone calls and don't answer their phone unless they know the number. That's fine, I totally get that. But who in the fuck has a fear of opening mail? Is that like a hangover from the war on terror or something? Because it sounds to me like straight up laziness.
I'm not a good, like, I've f***ed up a lot with money because of my anxieties of mail and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But the second I met Leanne, smooth sailing.
That's cool. It's good that you both have your role in that for sure.
Yeah.
I feel like in my house, it's definitely the other way. Yeah.
No How do you think I found you? I'm the forefront of changing gender identities. Gender
Yeah, there you
roles.
go.
That's
Yeah.
just I am. If there's any guy out there that feels like they're like me, that they're not really good with money and they're not really good. They're good at making it.
Yeah.
But they're not good with running it. They spend wildly. If I knew how much money I had, I might spend crazy.
Yeah.
So I just go, I don't know. And so
That's good. That is good that keep you like this then. You're right.
Like, who is he kidding about this? Like, who is he kidding? It's just a lie. It's a straight up lie. It's a straight up lie. Wasn't this the guy that was crying about where he came on that list of the top selling comedians or whatever in terms of money? Why are you crying if you don't know how much money you have? Why do you care about those type of things if you don't check how much money you have? If you got fear, he's lying. He's just lying. Pure and simple, he's lying. Same thing goes with the comments. I don't make comments. But then you Google yourself all the time. Of course you read the comments. You're fucking Bert Kreischer. You're addicted to the fucking comments. You live for fucking validation of people online. You seek it. You're an attention seeker. You're a big baby. There's no way this guy doesn't know where he's getting money. He's lying. He's just flat out lying. 100% he's lying. It's just a weird thing to lie about. It's just because nobody asked you. Like, who gives a fuck? Weird humble brag. Everything about this is weird.
If you knew, you might go like, oh, and just go crazy.
Bert basically just admitted that he's outsourced being an adult to his wife and Tom. They could both put him down as a dependent on government forms. Just think about this for a moment. Take away the shirtless stand-up routine and the endless rambling into the microphone every week on his podcasts. What can Bert actually do? I mean, at least Brendan Schaub was a professional heavyweight punching bag for a bit there, and now he knows how to change the oil on a Tesla. But Bert would be a bum if it wasn't for his clown act. And the worst part is, he's got children who, to their credit, seem like normal functioning adults. I was looking for a clip to show you guys that I remember from ages ago on JRE where Rogan roasted Bert and called his wife Leanne his mother because she does everything for him and tells him what to do. I seriously spent like 2 fucking hours looking for this clip and I still couldn't find it. So if any of you have it, hit me up. At least Bert's wife is a good woman though, who looks out for him and takes care of all the financials. How many stories have we all heard about rich celebrities getting shafted by their spouses, managers and agents? Bert really is lucky.
You know, it's kind of, do you like who you are?
Do I like who I am?
Like, do you wake up and go,
I'm not gonna lie, man, like, I don't mind these type of conversations with friends and shit, but there comes a point when somebody keeps asking these questions, essentially free therapy sessions, and not doing anything to change their circumstances, their situation, that it gets a little bit exhausting. Because you know what he's fishing for? He doesn't really care about you. He's mostly asking a question so he can talk about himself. If that's the case, cool, but go and get the help you need. Start making the changes that you need to make in order to make your life better. You have the resources, you have the time, you can do it. Don't use me as a conduit. Don't use me as a meat shield. Don't use me as a reason to broach this topic. Go and get the help that you need to get. It would be exhausting after a while. Like, bro, what is this? I didn't meet you for a drink so you could turn a question about me into a opportunity for you to talk about yourself for an hour. No one wants that, right? No one wants to just meet someone, a friend, and they speak about their situation for an hour and then they spend 10 minutes on yours, 20 minutes on yours, or don't even ask you about your situation. You get there and you're all concerned about theirs. You want to help them out as best as you can, and they never want to say, okay, anyway, enough about me. What's
Powerful bunch.
Big up Asad Aziz.
This guy is 50 having reflective thoughts of kid who listens to Netspin to feel emotions. Do I even like myself?
Exactly.
Would people miss me when I'm gone?
Exactly. This is like first time stoner thing, isn't it? It's like first time stoner questions. First trip, you know? Suddenly you become reflective. Bill Coiler, yeah, all Bert wants to know is, do you like me? Exactly. Exactly. I'm just hearing DSP's voice in my head. You guys like me? Yeah, exactly. Where do you guys like me? Exactly.
I think Tom's cool as shit.
No, I don't. I mean, that's not my inner dialogue. Definitely not.
What's your inner dialogue when you wake up in the morning?
Honestly, like the first thing is like, I'm tired. I wish I could sleep more.
It's crazy to be tired when you're not hungover.
And sometimes, you wake up skinny, so you're like, it's a good morning. And then sometimes
Not
you
me.
wake up fat. No,
Yep,
then,
there we go.
then you wake up and
So
you're like,
wait. Where do you judge that skinny or fat? I can tell you mine, and then you tell me yours. Ready? On my walk to the toilet,
Yeah.
I'd make a profile look, like an Alfred Hitchcock look, and I can tell if I'm skinny or fat, and sometimes I don't even look.
I think he's saying the truth. Can you imagine looking like Bert and ever thinking you look skinny? What does that even mean? What does that even mean? I can tell if I'm look skinny of like what? What does that even mean? Skinny. The word skinny. Not even bloated or less bloated. He used the word skinny or fat. But you're fat. You're not skinny. Nothing about you is skinny. Nothing.
Yeah, I mean, it's similar. Mine is that the mirror is in front of me as I'm walking into the bathroom. So it's straight on. Are you weighing yourself?
Yeah.
How is it?
Not great. I'm 250, but I'll tell you this.
That's a lie. That's a fucking lie. There's no way that guy's 250. This, speaking as a 250er, right? Speaking as a former 250er, there is no way Bert Kreischer's 250. Absolutely no way, shape or form, Bert is 250. Impossible. Even if he was 5'5", there is no way Bert Kreischer is 250. No way. He's definitely more. He's definitely north of 260. 280, I'd say minimum. I'd say 280 minimum. But he's definitely not 250.
Yeah.
Like, I put my hands on the counter when I weigh myself, and I ease myself onto the scale, and I lower my hands, and I let go at 250.
Yeah, exactly. Big up SRZ. The only thing who's thinner, exactly, is thinning hair. Exactly, yeah. Yeah, he doesn't wear that hat. He doesn't take off the hat, does he? That's one thing he's really insecure about. Weird, isn't it? But it doesn't seem to be that insecure about his body, or how red his face is, or how big his face is. But he seems to be very insecure about his head. No, he doesn't ever take off. He doesn't really take off his hat that much. Big up job in my ear. I'm a big back myself. He's not 250 exactly, unless he's 5'7". Exactly. Yeah, exactly. UJ, but has reverse body dysmorphia. Exactly. I never knew that was even possible. Exactly. Exactly. It's fucking crazy, bro. Honestly, usually when you're fat, you have this weird thing. I know. I had where like you see yourself as way fatter than what you actually are. Then you look back at pictures of when you thought you were fat. Oh no, yeah, exactly. For me, like you thought you were fat back then. You look at pictures back of yourself back then. You're like, oh shit, I wasn't actually that fat. You know. Whereas actually Bert, he's always been fat. Like we've known him to be this way. I don't think he's ever been really skinny ever in the time that we've known him. But he sees himself very differently. But that also maybe explains the addiction thing, the drinking. You know, we see his drinking as like, oh my god, it's crazy. He just sees it as like a couple of drinks with the lads.
And then I hop off at 250.
Okay. That is insane.
Sometimes I weigh myself backwards.
Yeah, as long as he says, Bert is 6 foot. Okay, if he's 6 foot, that's my height. There's no way he's 250. No way. There's no way Bert Kreischer is 250. There's absolutely no way. But even if I was 250 full of muscle, Bert is definitely fatter than me. 100% he was. Back then especially. There's no way Bert Kreischer is 250. He's definitely bigger than that. He's definitely bigger than that.
And take a picture of it so I don't know what it is, but I know how heavy I was.
So you don't actually even see it.
So what I'll do is I'll stand backwards and I'll take a picture of it, and then.
But you don't look at the picture.
I don't look at.
Imagine all this cope when all you have to do is just like stop eating. Imagine all this cope if all you have to do is just like get on Ozempic or something. Hire a fucking dietitian or nutritionist or something. Get yourself a personal trainer. Imagine all of this cope, all of these things you have to do to just avoid the reality of what you see, of what you know. Taking pictures backwards, doing this, doing that, like, huh? Oh, yeah. Either embrace what you look like and be okay with it and be at peace with it, or make the changes. This sort of like state he lives in, eternally frantic, but also not doing anything about it, or internally anxious and shit, it's just like, I would not like to live like that. Having this weird anxiety over these type of things and worry, but then not wanting to do anything about it, but then also not wanting to fucking shut the fuck up about complaining.
The picture until 3 days later when I feel like I've lost weight, and then I go, I wonder how much I was. And then the other day that backfired on me. I got on the scale the other day and I was like, I did the hands thing, and I was like, okay, 250, I'm good with that number. And I was like, I wonder what I was. I must have been like 257 when I ran the 2 bears, and then I was like 247. What the f? I gained 3 pounds.
That's a good point. Big up Asalities. Imagine getting a trainer, dietitian, steroids, and peer planning. People look like this. That's the thing. If you think about it, who's really bodied up? I remember the last time I saw someone bodied up in comedy was maybe Mark Norman. Remember there was a time Mark Norman took off his t-shirt, and weirdly enough, he's super ripped. Mark Norman, remember there was a time. I think he said it was probably because of skateboarding or something, right? But I just think he's working out. I don't think he didn't want to admit it, but he clearly looked like he was working out. But there's not a lot of comedians who are actually in good shape, especially the ones that talk about training a lot. You make money from just sitting down talking on the pod. You have to work. You've got a lot of free time. You've got money to like hire somebody to make your meals for you, or you can just order fucking good meals every fucking single day. You can easily fast because you're not working and you don't have stresses and shit. You can spend more time following a diet, whatever you want to do. But there's not a lot of them that are bodied up. Even Rogan. For as good as Rogan looks in his age, would you want to look like Rogan though? That HGH gut and shit, the redness, the face, the head size. Given how good, I know he looks aesthetically, whatever, muscles and shit. But would people actually want to look like Rogan? I don't know. So all these guys that talk about fitness, talk about training and shit, blah, 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 blah. Not really bodied up, are they? Tom is maybe a good example too. All that work and it's like, just looks like a deflated Tom, It's not really in shape, Maybe that's the whole point.
Oh my God.
But I think it's because I had pizza. I had cauliflower pizza, but I don't think they use cauliflower. I think they use bread.
That's not cauliflower pizza. That's just
I know.
pizza.
I know, but I halfway through I discovered it and I was like, I'll just pretend it's cauliflower.
Big up Dan Man Dalia. Well, you said Dalia's bodied up. Maybe he's the only one. Maybe Dalia might be one of the few. But again, I don't think he talks about. I mean, for the ones that talk about fitness and stuff, that's a part of their brand. Part of their brand is discipline and hard work and David Goggins and Navy SEAL Team 6, Navy SEALs, Jiu-Jitsu, blah blah blah. That's their thing. Look like ass, really. You don't really want to look like them. At least not naked, anyway.
And then I got an IV that day, so I feel like I retained all that water.
Yeah.
And I get 2 bags. I get dizzy as shit.
Holy shit, man. That's
is that a lot? Is that a lot? The 2 bags?
Yeah, I got to trim down too. I think I put on like 10 pounds.
Okay, what the fuck is this? The View for Men? Honestly, I blame Joe Rogan. He did this. But it's any guess how much Bert really weighs. Like Tom said, cheating while weighing yourself is crazy. It sounds like Bert's afraid of reality. He's openly spoken about his never-ending quest for his father's love and affection, and how he spent years in therapy over it. Incidentally, he just had his dad on Bertcast, and honestly, it makes absolutely zero sense how Bert is his son. He seems like a completely normal dude. And so when you add it all up, you sort of start to see the full picture. He hates paying bills, he has a fear of opening mail, Tom is his father figure even though he's several years older than Tom, he lies to himself when he jumps on the scales to make himself feel better about his lifestyle. He's basically...
Like, could you imagine making your living like this? Maybe this is reason why maybe people like myself and others aren't successful. Because one of the key parts, I think, one of the missing parts, one of the things that doesn't get spoken about enough is your ability and willingness for shame, Like, look at Johnny Somali, for instance, right? Fair enough, Johnny Somali is more infamy than fame, but he's still well known. You have to be able to, if you're willing to debase yourself and just to do whatever needs to be done to get your face out there, you can do okay for yourself. And I think Bert's a good example of it. The faces, the fucking overreactions, the screeching, the this, the that. It's like, are you okay? Aren't you like in your mid-50s? And you got this like frat boy, this adult, this grandpa, boomer frat boy personality. What are we doing here?
A fatter, redder, and dumber Peter Pan, without the cool costume. Mark my words, guys, after Brendan Schaub hears that, he's going to queue up a Peter Pan costume for Halloween this year. But just before I go on, can we appreciate the sheer craziness of the way Bart weighs himself? And please correct me if I've misunderstood this. So, when he steps on the scale, he puts his hand on the counter in front of him to hold up some of his weight. Then he slowly loosens his hands on the counter, which adds weight back onto the scale. And when it gets up to 250 pounds, he gets off. Is that right? Because
he's probably lying. This guy's overthinking it. Pascal Cringe is overthinking. He's probably just lying. To be fair, he's probably just lying. Most of it is a lie. He's probably just lying and making up on the spot to sound funny.
That's not just crazy, it's borderline fucking psychotic. Like, what the actual fuck is he talking about? And how do you take a photo of the scale behind your back? Like, literally, how do you do that? Oh man, making this video feels like one long acid trip.
I get high. I watch Bad Thoughts last night. Leanne goes to bed. It's like midnight, and I'm pretty high. I got these great PAX vape pens that are like perfect because you got me on Drive to Survive, and then that got me into Polo.
Yeah.
Last night, it auto played, like it just immediately goes into Meghan Markle's show.
Oh my God.
People need to do, you know with DSP, they've got that pie chart with DSP that kind of puts into perspective or quantifies how often DSP talks about begging and all that sort of shit. They gotta do that with Bert. They gotta do the same thing with Bert. You gotta fucking put, note down how often or how much Bert talks during Two Bears One Cave vis-a-vis how much Bert does. And I bet you it'll be drastic. And I bet you Bert probably talks for the majority of the time on Two Bears One Cave, and it's just Tom just sitting there letting Bert have his fucking free therapy sessions where he just kind of talking to himself or talking to himself in circles.
Halfway through, Tom, I realized I was whispering. Like, she whispers through it, and it's like, but like she says wild, crazy things. It's almost like she was never American. It's almost like she was never like a regular, she was always a princess. My friend Delphina is coming over. Her husband Nacho is good friends with Harry. We go out and hike, and then so I Google Nacho, right? Mm-hmm. Nacho is the most beautiful man in the world. He is one of the richest men in the world. He runs the #1 polo. Him and Harry play polo together. And guess what? Meghan Markle speaks Spanish. Meghan Markle speaks Argentinian Spanish.
Really?
And I'm like, who the is Meghan Markle?
How are these guys always complaining about how busy they are, yet Bert still has time to binge watch Meghan Markle's cooking show? I literally think that when Bart's not on stage or doing a podcast, he's just like a little kid running amok.
And most people, myself included, you don't have time to do these things. You try to watch stuff when you can watch. That's why sometimes you get people that actually have jobs or work or are just busy. That's why you get sometimes annoyed when random people just spoil stuff on social. Because you're maybe hoping to get around to watching that thing on the weekend, so you have to maybe avoid social, or you can. This guy is so busy and everything. He's on top of everything. He's entrepreneur, allegedly businessman, but has time to watch a Meghan Markle show that I've only seen clips of or screen grabs from on social. I've not even watched a single episode, but he has the time to watch the entire thing. Let's make it make sense. Are you a businessman or are you a Netflix binge watcher?
He was even talking about using a screen timing tool to limit the amount of time he spends on his phone. But the whole Meghan Markle thing was just weird. He was rambling for like 20 minutes about how he got sucked into it. I mean, it was the longest segment in the episode. He even got his producers to start pulling up photos of everyone so he could show us how good looking, white, and privileged they are.
Dude, this guy Nacho, I got onto a deep dive of him, and then that's just their first friend. Then they go to I've watched 4 episodes of this goddamn show, Tom. He's sponsored by Polo, the brand Polo. Uh-huh. Like, he's the fucking guy. Dude, how did we not become that kind of white where we played polo and we photographers and they knew how to make focaccia and they fucking made tea. Tom, she made biscuits for their fucking dog. She made biscuits for their fucking dog.
Are you going to make me watch this show?
She makes these ice cubes with flowers inside them. She goes, dude, she made a fucking mimosa that I swear to God I will make. She freezes orange juice into cubes that look like flowers, then puts them in the drink, puts them in the freezer, and then when her friends come over, she pulls it out and pours champagne on top of them. Let me tell you something. Meghan Markle could get in my pants tomorrow. She made tea bags for her friend to take home.
This is just an attempt to get her attention, isn't it? No? This is just an attempt to get her attention because they're part of the Netflix family or something. You're trying to talk about this and hope that shit what? What is this? What is this? Have some shame. Have some fucking shame. Ugh.
So that she could make tea later And then Meghan Markle's like, I've been making tea my whole life. And I can't tell if she's lying or not.
Oh, right.
I can't. Where's the black part of Meghan Markle? Like, isn't she black?
Half.
I don't know black people to make biscuits for their dog. I'm just saying that. Like,
Yeah.
it's not been a thing in black culture. Like, we make biscuits for our dog.
So this is going to be a bit then, right? He's fishing for a compliment. He's fishing for acknowledgement. So this is also going to be a bit. For sure. This is 100% going to be a bit.
Or
No.
we leave tea bags for our friends. The only thing, she can't dance.
That's very disappointing.
Well, it makes me think like, okay, if you're black and you can't dance, maybe you spend your time cutting ribbons.
Bert's got this weird obsession with race, and I don't know if it's healthy. How many times have we heard him lusting over big black dudes and share his weird fantasies about getting railed by them? I think Rogan said something similar once too. What's with these guys and their weird-ass fantasies? And don't even get me started on the shit that goes on in Tom's head. That guy's a proper weirdo. But we've all heard Tim Dillon's funny-as-hell takes on Meghan Markle. In my review of his recent comedy special on Patreon, I mentioned how much I love hearing his rants about her and the royals, and his joke about showing a Syrian refugee how hard her life is was probably one of the best jokes in the whole special, in my opinion. And at first, Bert's rant was kind of unhinged, but the way he brought it all together at the end, well, he almost had me convinced.
I think, look, let's, for just argument's sake, Tom, okay? For argument's sake, okay? Argument's sake. Say she is the real deal. Say she does like make dog biscuits and make her own tea. She leaves it outside. She steeps it all day. And then Harry meets her, right? Harry's only the Duchesses of Wales, right?
Yeah.
All these like those white broads, pasty white broads that are, he's basically fucking Downton Abbey his whole life, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Meets a American half black chick, right?
Yeah.
Who can twerk a little bit, fucking rails him. And she says casually, let's just argument's sake, Tom, argument's sake.
Argument's sake.
She goes, hey man, this is a little fucked up. It's crazy, man. No one's making eye contact. Like, what the fuck? And he's like, well, I'm the prince.
Yeah.
She goes, yeah, this is kind of crazy. And by the way, everyone's like, how dark will the baby be?
Yeah. Yeah.
Someone
You're
actually
black.
said that.
This is so date. Like, did they just wake up yesterday and discover that Meghan Markle exists? Did they just realize she exists because of the show? Did they not remember? Like, isn't this like, huh? This is such a thing, huh?
Will it be blacker than you?
Someone actually said, yeah. Are we looking at a Patrick Ewing or more of a Steph Curry?
We certainly don't want him any darker.
I'm too dark. What if she casually says that, right? She casually is like, yeah, this is a little fucking racist because she's American, right?
Yeah.
She's American. And then the whole world turns on her because Harry can't get his brother to fucking be on his side. What if she's not the bad person in this?
All right, guys, soft pitch. And I know a lot of you won't agree with this, but fuck it, hear me out at least. I think that was funnier than anything Bert said in his Lucky special. If he cleaned that up, got rid of all the squealing and shit, kept his shirt on and turned the energy down a few notches from his usual stand-up energy, I think he could be funny. Now, let's not get crazy. We all know he's a hack, but he does have his moments. And I think his take on Meghan Markle has legs. Well, maybe 5 years ago. But hey, let's cut him some slack. Rogan's been doing the same jokes for 5 years as well. The thing is, though, one thing I've noticed about comedians like Bert, and this goes for Tim Dillon as well, they're always funnier on their podcasts than they are on stage. How many times have you pissed yourself laughing listening to Tim Dillon ranting on his podcast and then tuned into his comedy special and been disappointed? This is what I think happens, right? They come up with a funny story or a hot take on a podcast. Someone tells them it's funny. Maybe they hear their producers laughing, or Joe Rogan calls them up and tells them they're really funny and should tell it on stage. Whatever it is, they decide to work on it. Then they absolutely butcher it. They work it into the ground until it's no longer funny and it sounds formulaic and scripted. And then everyone says they're funnier on their podcasts than they are on stage.
Nah, I just don't think they're putting enough time into it. I think they spend way more time podcasting than they do writing jokes, which makes sense because podcasting pays them more. Usually, most people in life spend most of your time doing the thing that pays you the most. Whether it's your job or whatever you do, you usually allocate the large part of your day doing the thing that benefits you the most, monetarily. And these guys are no different. They just spend way more time on their Patreons, on their podcasts, than they do writing jokes. That's why when they do eventually write, especially when they write jokes for their pod, because they're thinking about it all the time, that's why there's so much funny on there. Simple as that, really. If they would spend more time doing jokes, then they would be funnier. Or writing jokes, they just don't do it. When's the last time you've heard a comedian talk about their writing process recently? Especially within the Rogan crew. How they, what they're doing, how often they're going up, popping in and shit, or just talking about their tours. When's the last time you heard them mention it? They don't really mention it because they don't do it. So yeah, I get it because it pays well, but let's not, they just did it more, they'll be okay, but they don't.
There you go, Bert. I figured it out for you, buddy. Anyway, remember to head over to my...
So anyway, that's it. We got it. Big up Podcast Cringe. Appreciate that guy.